Hi, so I want to give you like a little sneak peek of, you know, the way you can turn your web application that you built in Webflow using a framework like Wized into a native application. And the cool thing about that is you will not have to redo a lot of things. So, for example, I built this project in Wized 2 weeks ago or so, or 4 weeks, something like that. And it's just like a file upload. When I upload a CSV file, it will, let's see, it will, just scrape that CSV file. Now, the cool thing is, if I turn this into a mobile application, everything I can do in here will work fully natively. So I will get the native dialog for browsing files on an iPhone. I will get the native, the shared icon and the recent ones. This is not the same one because this is just a normal file upload added in Webflow using the HTML element. So normally, if I would click on this, it would say, take a photo, like in the browser, it would say, take a photo, choose from gallery or choose from files. Now I click on here, I get this pop-up. Why? Because this is not a PWA. This is a real native app. And since it is a native app, it will have all functionalities of a native app, not a PWA. You will have Face ID. You will have Touch ID. You will be able to use the native QR code scanner. You'll be able to use NFC, if that is interesting to you. You'll be able, you could even build a door. Let's say you build a property booking app in Wized, and you can build a native app for that, and people will be able to unlock the doors of their property rentals built in Wized using this mobile app built in Wized 2, using the NFC module that their iPhone has. So instead of, telling them put this code in, they will be able to take an application built in Wized, hold it on the door, on a smart door, and the door will open, built in Wized. Just understand how amazing this is. But this is the future, and this is all low code, no code, and we're talking about doing those things. This is really exciting. And then, of course, you'll be able to access camera, audio, those things. Also, certain files on your phone. You can also track certain behavior of the user. And the most important thing, in-app purchases. Apple can finally take 15% of cut of every sale, but they're going to provide you a robust infrastructure, and you're going to get such, they're going to advertise you on the App Store. They need to take some money. But the cool thing is you'll be able to process payments, not using Stripe. Apple will not allow that. But you'll be able to take payments directly and securely using Apple natives native app features. You'll be able to have in-app purchases and in-app subscriptions. And the cool thing is, the way this is being built is it will fully work in synchronicity with Wiz's JavaScript library and with embed. That's what they call the embed. It will work fully in sync with it. To, for example, if I'm going to purchase an in-app subscription for $9 a month, we will be able to trigger a Wized request to send this, with even the appropriate user ID who signed up. Let's say user 123 signs up in my application, and I would sell an in-app subscription, right? Now, that in-app subscription, once created, we're going to get a signature back. Now, we have it built that way that when a signature comes back, the signature is automatically linked to the user, containing in a variable that you can define that user ID, and then it will, call that user ID in Wiz, trigger the request, go to Xano, and that user will then have access on your database as well, and that user has paid. Now, the cool thing is, if the user stops paying, how do you know if an in-app subscription user stops paying? Because how do you do webhooks? The cool thing here is, if the user stops paying, this is not going through Wized nor your backend. This app that you turned, when you turned your Wized application to a native app, there is functionality in that app file itself. So Apple gives us an API to validate if the user logging in right now is still in an active subscription. If not, we're going to redirect that user to a failed payment page to please either retry their payment And the first time the user gets redirected, we will be able to revoke their access using Wized's API that they expose us to do the certain requests, which is a super neat thing. So this is really, really, really amazing. And then, you can always track those things back and, even use things like Apple's APIs to track back who paid and who hasn't, if you want to have a more tight version of that on the back end. But this is pretty cool because you can do stuff that you could normally not do. When you build things in Wized, the biggest limitation that you have is that it is in a browser. I am a true believer that Wized is such a powerful and such a great tool. You can build everything with it. You can build everything with Wized. It is the best web application framework for Webflow on the market, and it will be the best forever. Because the way it is built, the way it handles reactivity, that is state of the art. It is even, I would say, hats on with all the code competitors, because the way and the innovative way it works with this increasement of reactivity, and then the fact that it gives you the possibility to do the HTML in Webflow, this is where you feel comfortable, right? So this is why all of those exciting applications are now coming out to be built in Wized. And I think a lot of applications actually that are great are built in Wized, but people don't talk about it. But you would be stunned by what amazing stuff is built in Wized. But the biggest limitation here, and your enemy, is the browser. Your browser does fail to fetch. Your browser has timeouts. Your browser has security limitations. Your browser doesn't let you do this and this and this and this and this. But Wized wants to do those things. Wized can do those things, but your browser is saying, not with me. Native apps don't have that issue, because if a native app is downloaded, that is a piece of software working on your device. If that piece of software and the user consents to the proper things, you can do all of those things because you're working now with a native piece of software and not a website that is loaded on there, which is a big difference, meaning you can add push notifications out of the box. By the way, with the tool I'm building, you're going to get unlimited free push notifications. You can send 180 million push notifications a day. It will not cost you anything, which is pretty cool. So you can do unlimited free push notifications, and you don't need to add a Cloudflare service worker. You don't need to do any of that. This is all out of the box because we're now working with native Swift code. In a no-code environment, you can translate that over. You can compile the code you do in Wized into Swift and Webflow and all of that, which is pretty amazing. Another big thing is you can use data caching because, sometimes you see Wized has 300,000 page views. Now, if you were to build your web application or your application, let's talk about application because we're expanding the horizon here. Every time that page is visited, this will count as a page view because, it's not being cached and, the file has to be reloaded. Every time your page gets loaded, this costs money to Wized because they host that for you. So if you build a native application and that file can be hosted locally on your device, and only if you do major changes, you log into the dashboard and say, let's just refresh everyone's device right now on the next load because we did this major thing, you can do that too. But if there is no major thing, you can just build it that way that it refreshes every fifth day automatically or whatever. You can define that all later on. But my big point is every time that app is being opened, this is not another page view because it will work fully. All the logic in Wized will work. All the Webflow thing will work. But in the cached version, all API calls will still work and so on, which is pretty amazing, right? And then, when you do a tremendous change in Wized, you can just go to the dashboard and say, let's just refresh everyone's device right now. And it will do that, which is pretty amazing. So yeah, the possibilities are endless now. And again, you can even use NFC. If you need to unlock property rentals, because a lot of things are being built in Wized or real estate, you can open doors. Like Wized literally can open you all the doors in life, even from a technical perspective. And I think this is a big possibility for everyone knowing Webflow, wanting to do Webflow, and by the way, there is a full integration also coming with MemberStack. Not just MemberStack and Wized, which is out there, but there will be also let's call it unofficial integration between this tool that will make everything native and MemberStack. So if you use Wized and MemberStack, you can still turn your Wized and MemberStack project into a native app. MemberStack will not be collecting the money, though. This will be happening with iOS, the App Store, which, MemberStack takes 5%, if I'm right, and iOS takes 15%. But MemberStack will not make the money on there, but Apple will do. So at the end, it's pretty much the same. But it will work, and it will still grant access in the MemberStack using their API and all of that. That is all pre-built and can be configured in the dashboard. So I'm excited about this. And this really shows the possibilities of Wized. Because if you learn Wized, or if you know Wized, now you're not just... You don't just have the possibilities to build interactive website and even amazing web applications. Now, with being native, you can build anything in Wized because Wized is so powerful, lets you do everything. And Alex and the whole team and Joe did a great job in making Wized what it is right now. It is amazing. You can do everything. It is so lightweight and flexible that you can turn it into a mobile application. This is really the beauty behind that. And now, your skill set that you learned for web applications without learning anything new can build mobile applications. And you can be on the App Store. And for all the Android people, Android is coming later down the road, in a few weeks still, but it will come a few weeks after iOS because I don't have any Android device. So I can test and build on iOS easier than on Android. But, that is coming later down the road. Android in a few weeks after iOS comes out. But, even being an iOS developer without any coding and using the power of Wized without, relearning anything is, I think, pretty genius. And thank you so much also to the Wized team for building such a great product where it is so easy and so lightweight to really start stretching the boundaries. Because this is what my whole journey with Wized was about. How far can I go? Okay, let's try PWAs. Okay, that's still too easy. Now we're going native, and we're going that round, and it is happening. This is now a reality. And thank you so much to the whole Wized team for always being so supportive and for always answering all my emails about all the random technical questions I had. And thank you so much for making Wized such a great product and helping us really turn our ideas into reality, because we know how to do those things in Webflow, but it was always the logic that held us back. Now, thanks to Wized, we have that freedom in doing the logic, and now we have also the capabilities to distribute that logic onto the app stores. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time and all your support. And please let me know if you have any questions or any suggestions. More ideas are always highly appreciated because at the end, this tool is for you. And, I think a good way of ending this video is showing you how a native app would handle the opening of an external website, which will be in a separate tab. And we have the wonderful Wized website. Look at that. And I can close that tab and I'm back at my native app. Look at that. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that, and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.